Welcome back, Ghost Mafians. Welcome back to the Real Talk Podcast with your host, Mr. Ghost, bringing the truth and the facts to the table, shining that light upon the darkness, because as true Christians, that's what we're supposed to be doing. In John chapter 8, verse 32, Jesus told his followers, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Also in John 16:13, Jesus promised that the Spirit of truth has come and he will guide you unto all truth. Apparently, our wonderful, beautiful libtards today have yet to learn that. Obviously, we could talk about a million things that they've lied about over these past few years, but we'll just touch on destiny today. Obviously, I still want to talk about the Jimmy Kimmel situation and why I really think Jimmy Kimmel should be off the air permanently, but that'll be for a different day. And also, guys, stay tuned. We do got the Smith Mundy Act podcast coming. That's going to be a pretty epic one, why I think Barack Obama screwed over the United States. And I think he's the reason why the United States is upside down right now. But that's a different podcast. So, obviously, Destiny, you guys know him by that handle. He is a streamer, Twitch, YouTube. He does his own little thing, his own little spew. He's the same guy that said that the right wing should fear violence in order for us to make our changes. Why? You want us to bend our knee to your will, to believe a man is a woman and a woman's a man, to allow a grown man in the bathroom with my daughters? Your threats don't scare me, soy boy. I'll make that very clear. You know, but you like to poke fun at people. You like to sit there and claim to be a feminist for women. At the same time, you are being sued for sending out revenge corn. And there's also an allegation of you being with a 17-year-old. You filthy animal, you. But ladies and gentlemen, I found quite a few things, and this guy got annihilated in the comment section. But also, we're going to look at some truths on who this guy really is. Let's rock it. So he ends up posting on his little X account, aka Twitter. "I'll never get over how the head of our Health and Human Services department sounds like he drank orange juice with pulp he wouldn't make it." I just got a little dumber as I read that. I think like I lost a few brain cells. Anyways, for those who are not familiar with Robert F. Kennedy, his father was assassinated because of political violence from the left. His uncle was assassinated by the left as well. We go on and on about the political violence of the 60s, but we'll be here all night. But anyway, he suffers from spasmodic dysphonia. I know I butchered that, so you can roast me in the comments because I'm not good with medical terms, but it is a neurological voice disorder that causes involuntary spasms of the muscles. See, I got very curious why he spoke about that, why his voice was like that, and obviously this is the reason why. But obviously, you know, this femboy decided it would be, you know, it's okay to poke fun at a person with a disability. By the way, Robert Kennedy spoke for a little over 5 minutes. The exertion on his body from those spasms, I have tremors. I haven't had a seizure in a while, thank God. But I know what it does to the body when you're having these uncontrollable spasms. It's draining. It is extremely draining. But obviously, this soy boy decided it would be pretty cool to make fun of this guy. But this is the same person that spewed this hatred. You guys should actually hear this one.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature. It's unacceptable that that feeling doesn't exist over there.
Wow.
And the reason...
Wow. Wow. Is that inciting murder? Inciting political violence? Are you inciting terrorism? See, this is the problem in our country on both sides. I'm going to be talking about both sides real quick. I think the right is way too soft. And I'm not talking for political violence. I'm talking about consequences. Shit like this, you should be arrested. You should be charged. And I'm not saying because he has the freedom of speech. He does. You have the freedom of speech to say whatever you want. But there are consequences to your words. So if you're inciting murder, you're inciting violence and terrorism, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, you should be charged criminally for that. I've watched for far too long as the left has allowed criminals to run rampant in our streets. Every Democratic-run stronghold in this country is filled with crime. The young Ukrainian refugee down in Charlotte, North Carolina, stabbed to death by a 14-time convicted felon. And now he got bail and released back to the streets because he's not competent to hold trial. But yeah, we're the problem. And yes, guys, I am registering as a Republican, by the way. I thought I never would side with a political aisle, but I clearly see where the evil lies. So obviously, he spoke for over 5 minutes, guys, but then he also pokes fun at this. I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I started, he's repeating the same thing that Trump got caught saying. I do not support with what Trump said back then, grab him by the you-know-what. But obviously, Trump's changed since then. He's become more of a godly man. And this speaks to the power of how God can change a person. And I really think he changed significantly, especially since Butler, Pennsylvania. He's still himself. There's sometimes he gets in front of himself, if that makes sense. He likes to trip himself up, gloat his own horn. But for you to take this symbolic moment, a wife grieving her husband, to make some grubby, nasty-ass comment about his old comments, makes you a scumbag, Destiny. A scumbag. She's mourning the loss of her husband. Her children will grow up without a father because of your rhetoric. The rhetoric on your side of the aisle. Now, I know Jimmy's out there telling everybody that the shooter was right-wing. No, we can all be honest real quick. Yes, the shooter grew up in a right-wing household. Very good Trumpers. Very good Christian household. But he was radicalized. The second he left home, mom let him fly his wings. He started hanging around bad people. Very influential people that thwarted his mind. Turned him against his own beliefs because he was spiritually weak. This is why I'm a firm believer in prayer and devotion to our Lord, because when you pretty much devote yourself to God and you let God lead, your spiritually becomes strong. You have the breastplate of courage. You have the his shield of armor. It's amazing because the devil will utilize your spiritual weakness against you, and he will warp your mind. But this guy is vilely disgusting, which don't surprise me. Why is he talking crap about this when he literally sent out revenge porn and supposedly sent explicit images to a minor? So obviously he says the mega mind needs to be studied. This is another one of his little rhetorics because Jimmy Cancel got fired because he said that the shooter was from his own party, which is the right. Pretty much blaming it all on the right instead of taking responsibility that their rhetoric for the past 10 years, calling Trump, his supporters, and anybody on the right, fascists and Nazis, that had nothing to do with it. That had nothing to do with radicalizing some mentally ill people in our society. So obviously he wants to run his mouth there. Then this individual called the older millennial sent out this message. His voice is messed up. You flew to the other side of the world to F a 19-year-old and then lost her because one of the dudes that F'd you both took her. And you committed revenge porn multiple times with a minor. You guys know me. I'm all about truth. I'm all about transparency. And I did go look this up. And obviously, yes, there is ongoing lawsuits when it involves the revenge. Yes, there was a minor named Rose. She was, misrepresenting her age as 19. You never verified that. Like, you're going to go and try to date somebody online. You don't try to verify the authenticity of their age. I know it's harder these days when you're online, but most 19-year-olds got IDs. It wouldn't hurt too much to say, hey, can I see your ID just to confirm? And you can tell a fake ID sometimes, but sometimes you can't. But this is the risk that you run. But that's like the small part of it. But then you sent out revenge porn of people you had intimate relations with to destroy their character. By the way, that's a crime. Why is he not charged? And that's something I do question on the left again. Why are people not being held accountable for their crimes? So obviously, as I said, I did my research. Yes, I let AI do most of the answering, but then I found an article that goes on to confirm this. The Florida-based live streamer and YouTube personality known as Destiny was accused of sharing explicit content of a woman without her consent or knowledge. That is a crime. I believe it might be a federal crime now. Don't quote me on that. Let me know in the comments you guys actually think it's a federal crime. I think it is. I think there was recent laws passed that made it a federal crime now. A federal lawsuit filed in the Southern District of Florida on Tuesday alleged that Destiny, whose real name is Stephen K. Bonnell II, sent an explicit video to a random fan, then who spread them to various websites. The plaintiff, by the name of Jane Doe, identified in the lawsuit only by her influencer name as Pixie, had an encounter with Bonnell in 2020. Wow, he actually might have took advantage. I'm being honest. I've seen a picture of this guy. He looks like a soy boy. Just being honest. I don't think he would survive if the world came to an end or zombies. I think he would be the first one to go because too weak of a minded individual. According to the complaint, the lawsuit said that Pixie was a smaller content creator with 15,000 followers on X and 10,000 followers on their live streaming platform Twitch, compared to his 840K on YouTube and over 700K on Twitch. I know he has like a few thousand on his X account. Both of the Destiny created potential politically oriented content online, but now was accused of sending the video to a fan identified as Rose, the 17-year-old, by the way. So he sent that explicit video to a 17-year-old minor in 2022. 2 years later, the video appeared online message board Kiwi Farms, never heard of that, spread to other sites. That sounds like a site that should be like investigated. Just saying, it seems like one of those weird sites that should be investigated. God knows what's going on there. It spread to other sites whose captions listed the video's subjects as Pixie and Destiny have garnered tens of thousands of views, according to the complaint. Attorneys for Pixie claimed the leaked video went viral across social media. The lawsuit alleged Bonnell admitted to sharing the video in a Discord message when he confronted by Pixie in November of 2024. And these are his words. There shouldn't be no. Bonnell said when asked if he shared additional videos of Pixie, according to the complaint, "I'm so sorry, there's literally no excuse. I had phone convos and stuff with this person that were fairly close to me. It was worthless to say at this point, but I am super sorry. There's literally no excuse." No, there isn't. You are a self-described feminist. You claim to be for women's rights, respecting women. You want to go out there and run your mouth about what Trump said back on a bus. I don't agree with what Trump said. I'm not saying I do. But then you're out here sending out revenge porn to a minor, you PDF. This is the problem in our society. And I'm hoping that Trump sticks by his words and that his Justice Department does. Start holding criminals damn responsible for the crimes they commit. Stop being soft on crime. If they go after and do stuff like this, there's no damn excuse. Lock their asses up. Lock them up. Like enough is enough. So obviously he confessed to it. Why is he not charged? The plaintiff's attorneys alleged that she received hundreds of insulting and harassing messages as a result of the leak, and claimed Bonnell's followers discussing the leaks in different accounts, falsely claiming the plaintiff exchanged asks for professional growth. I don't know much of this is true, but obviously she has a case, because if a judge lets the lawsuit go forward, you provided enough evidence to get your claim in front of a judge. So I'm not going to read the rest of this, but you guys can see that she's suing for emotional distress upon her and violating her privacy. And it is a crime, by the way. Let's actually confirm. I know you guys said it in the comments, but let's. Yes, tort, privacy, copyright, criminal offense, 49 states, except that one. As of June 24, it is a crime. It is a major crime. Woo-hoo-hoo. It is a major crime, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, I do. But then, obviously, our Secretary of Health, guys, you got to see of how jacked this guy really is. I mean, I seen him do some workouts. But before we go jump in to see what he looks like, supposedly this is who his wife left him for. I don't know how true this is. I'm not going to sit there and dive too much into this, but somebody literally said, this is the dude your wife left you for. I hope it's not true because you lost your wife to a femboy. And I mean, for a soy boy to lose his wife to a femboy, it's not far-fetched. They're not that far off from each other. He might be a mix of both. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, this is the same guy who obviously can't find Israel on the map, who thinks Egypt borders with Russia. He really thinks the prime minister of Israel is somebody by the name of Erdogan. Confused Erdogan for Assad. Thought the Bible was written in Arabic. This tells me that he does not read the Bible. He should read the Bible because he's living a very evil, very sinful life. Didn't know who Francesco Franco was. Thought Israel banned cookies because Hamas made rockets from them. You can't be this stupid. There's no way this guy has this large platform and claims to be a male feminist while he's doing this derogatory crap, but then thinks cookies makes bombs. But anyways, guys, this is our secretary. Listen, this guy is 70 years old, and I am 40. And this dude is like, he's in his 70s. I don't know his exact age, but I know he's in his 70s. And he is jacked. He is jacked. Look at those muscles. Like, I am 40 years old. I do not look like that. But I definitely don't look like the guy on the other side either. I'm be honest, he looks like he takes it in the back door. Not colonoscopy style, like he takes it willingly, and he tells Daddy harder. Listen, I'm just being real with you. You know that he looks like that. But yeah, as I said, people are just roasting him, guys. People are just roasting him in the comment sections, and some of these is like, bro, like really, you're getting roasted because you thought that your words were gonna incite us to think differently of who our human and our Secretary of Health and Human Services is. But this is the same thing. Are you sure? Yes, as he's watching his wife. By the way, that's a sin within itself. Prefers OJ with that. Drinks this. Don't drink liberals. Oh my goodness. But yeah, this was the previous Secretary of Health and Human Services, a mentally ill man that thought he was a woman and dressed as a woman. I'm telling you right now, if I was the adversary of the United States under Biden, I would have invaded the U.S. I would have. It would have been the perfect moment to do it in those 4 years. Because half of our military thought they were men. Not half, but a lot of our leaders really thought they were men that were women. We got to stop affirming people's mental illness. And as I said, like, take a look at this one. Dad, there's a under my bed. Dad goes, looks under. It's a mirror of Dad. But yeah, so I actually confirmed his statements because I'm all about truth and transparency, guys, and making sure the facts I'm bringing to you are truth, because the truth is the truth, right? I know Destiny got banned. I know he got banned on Twitter. Well, not banned, demonetized on Twitter as well as YouTube. But I think people like this is where, as I said, when we get into the podcast about the Smith-Mundy Act, I think it needs to go broader and touch on channels like YouTube, for example, that myself included, whoever's doing commentary, whoever's doing podcasts, have to adhere to a certain set of rules to where we are not misleading the American people, where we are not leading the American people astray. We're not trying to gaslight the American people, not lying to the American people, because there's a certain accountability to your tongue. Your tongue matters. And for far too long, we have allowed people to lie and misstrued people in many different directions. As I tell people all the time, do your research. Look into the truth. Before you even speak, look it up. You know, I wasn't even going to touch on a lot of those other little things of that one guy said about meeting a 19-year-old. I wasn't really going to go off on that. You see what I did? I did my research. I looked up the articles to make sure that these people are speaking the truth. Because once again, it is Twitter, aka X. People are going to say whatever they want just to hurt feelings, right? People are always going to throw out bull against the wall. You know what I'm saying? But we can't be like a bull in a china cabinet. You know what I'm saying? We got to be very delicate with these situations because, once again, we have to bring the truth to the table. Destiny, you're a vile piece of crap. You disgust me, but I don't hate you. I will pray for your soul because you obviously need saving. You've lived in sin for most of your life. And don't give me the spiel that you read the Bible because you think the Bible is written in Arabic. I don't know where you got that from. I don't get it. But at the end of the day, don't hate but love. This guy rather make fun of somebody with a disability. He'd rather make fun of women. He'd rather make fun of the right. Instead of coming together with unity, he'd rather tell us to fear the violence. I don't think you really looked at the people on the right. Listen, I've been middle ground for quite a few years now. When I left the Democratic Party, I mean, it's going all the way back, 10, 15 years now. I have not looked back. I have not looked back because I did my research of what the left really was about. The second they legalized same, marriage, that was my final straw because it went against my biblical values, and I left. That doesn't mean I jumped in the bandwagon to the right and said, yep, I'm Republican now. No, I stayed right in the middle. I voted for the best candidate that was going to benefit our country in the long run. But the more I sit here and the more I do my research and I look into the right side of the aisle, I'm starting to see a lot of truth. There are some rhinos out there that are old, stark, very far right politicians in the right side of the party. But since the Tea Party movement, we have watched the right get more biblical, more on the Christian values. And if God can change, if God can affect Donald Trump the way he's been affecting him, still has a lot of work to do, right? Because I watched the speech that he gave at the funeral, and some of it I agreed with, then some of the rhetoric is like, not the place, Mr. President. It's not the place to jabs at your opponents. But I understand why. Because their rhetoric for 10 years led to death to an innocent man. I find it ironic that every time that the left loses an argument, they pull a gun. Prove me wrong on that. Prove me wrong. They lost an argument with Abraham Lincoln. They shot him. Malcolm X shot him. Martin Luther King shot him. The Kennedys shot and killed him. They shot at Reagan. They shot at Trump. And now they killed Charlie Kirk. They shot at Trump. They shot at Trump once and tried to kill him a handful of times. But yet, the right is the party of violence. I find it very ironic that since the death of Charlie, there's been zero riots. A lot of unity, can't speak, a lot of revival, a lot of prayer. I witnessed during that ceremony for Charlie, where nearly, I think, close to 4,000. I'm not going to quote that, but I think nearly 4,000 people gave their life to Christ. I can't count how many people since Charlie died has given their life to Christ. That's a martyr. He died for his Christian values. He died for the freedom of speech. He died for open dialogue because his words were violence. See, when you sit there for so long and you tell people, your words are violence, you're hurting me, that causes a problem. It causes a rift. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. If we cannot disagree respectfully and agreeably, we have a problem. And since the Mundy Act has been taken away from us, we've watched the United States spiral into a shithole. Sorry, God, for saying the S word. I'm trying to be better, but it has. I've watched families fall apart and rip apart because of political indifferences. But I will always be firm within my beliefs. I don't believe in abortion. I don't believe in the same-sex marriage. I don't believe in transgender ideology. But I don't hate these people. Because what of a Christian am I if I go hate these people? What type of Christian am I if I show vileness to these people? What they do in their private life has nothing to do with me. Even if it's against God's law, it has nothing to do with me. I will pray for them. And I will hope that the Holy Spirit convicts them and changes them. These are the type of people that we need in our society. We need more Charlies. We need more people who are going to speak up against the evil in our society. We don't want men in women's sports. We don't want men in women's bathrooms. We want to help people that are mentally ill. We want to fix America and make America one of the best countries to ever live in. And the only way that starts is by giving it back to God. With that being said, guys, I will always love to have your advice and your opinion down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit your bell notifications, and hit that like button. I'll see you all in the next.